Hello, this is Angie Yingst, and you're listening to Centered, grounded conversations about the metaphysical. Blessed Midsummer, friends. It's Angie Yingst with a bonus episode celebrating another turn of the wheel with summer solstice. Some call it midsummer, some call it summer solstice, some call it litha or letha. As I was kind of searching for how to pronounce it, I tried to get that correct, but I couldn't because there was a lot of different ways. So I found an Irish speaker who said litha and a Wiccan who said letha, and she kind of was like, this is how you pronounce it. Ultimately, the word for the holiday just comes from the Anglo-Saxon name for the month June, which is Ereditha. And I pronounced that like Spanish, but sorry. Essentially, that translates to the first litha, and July is effectively named the second litha. So the meaning of the word litha is kind of unclear according to the reckoning of time. And I found this on a website that is written by a Wiccan. So she did a little bit of research and she said, there's this 8th century treatise, and the word litha in that means calm or gentle. And she said this probably refers to the quality of the summer winds when you were sailing. Okay, so interesting. I don't know. I mean, I like that it's just the month June. That makes a lot of sense to me. So if you're struggling with it, just skip it. Call it summer solstice or call it midsummer. But I'm just going to say that I use midsummer. I like that because I think of Beltane as the beginning of summer, on the wheel of the year. And so I like that this is midsummer. I also like that it connects with Shakespeare and, So anyway, if you watched Midsummer, the 2019 film about this pagan cult in Scandinavia's violent midsummer celebration of summer solstice, then you might have some idea about this holiday. And I'm just going to say, not correct. Beautiful movie. I mean, really beautiful until I had to stop it because even reading the description ended up traumatizing me a little afterwards. I'm super delicate when it comes to movies, so I'd rather watch my favorite movies like Moonstruck and any Wes Anderson film or, Groundhog Day for the 15th time than watch something where someone's getting really violently hurt. But let's just talk briefly about the Wheel of the Year and how midsummer fits into that. So generally speaking, Wiccans, pagans, people that are connected to the agrarian calendar celebrate these seasonal festivals. And I should say earth-based spirituality often will go to the Wheel of the Year. Wiccans kind of invented this idea, but they really picked up on different festivals through the year that were celebrated by agrarian or folk religions. So agrarian communities means communities that relied on farming to exist. And then, kind of looking at what the folk religions were at the time. So some of the most well-known ones are Samhain, which ended up being an equivalent with Halloween, or Yule, which happens, at winter solstice. And a lot of the celebrations of Christmas kind of mirror that of Yule. So those of us who, are earth-based in our spirituality, we kind of go back to this because it shows us the cycles of the year. It shows us what is important in terms of our work. So on the Wiccan calendar, the Wheel of the Year, they will coincide with certain solar events. So the solar events are the equinoxes and the solstices. Okay, so the equinoxes are when there's equal day and light. Those are, March 21st and September 21st. And I mean, they're kind of fall in between the 20th and the 22nd. Those are when, we start, these are basically the starts of all of our traditional seasons, right? So the equinoxes kick off spring and autumn, and then the solstices kick off summer and winter. So now we're kind of in summer when we hit summer solstice. Now, again, I like to think of this as midsummer, so, whatever. And then the other 4 are they're called cross quarter days. They're 6 weeks after one of those solar events, and those end up being the bigger festivals, actually the greater Shabbats, that's what they call them. And the solstices and equinox, or the solar events, are the lesser. Okay. Why? Because generally they're just celebrated more based on the goddesses and the gods. And things like that, instead of the solar events, right? So the summer solstices festivals are really, celebrating the fact that the triple goddess is pregnant. So she is in the mother phase. She has a big belly. And so it's not harvest season yet. She's still pregnant, right? She was impregnated at Beltane. That's when we celebrated sex and unions and community. So this is when the sun god is at the height of his power, okay? So we talk about it that way because it's the longest day of the year. And so, when you're in the southern hemisphere, obviously this is different. Litha is Yule. All right. So you have different holidays depending on where you are because we're based on the earth cycles and the moon cycles and the sun cycles. So wherever you are is, how you relate to that. So if you're way up in Alaska or way up in the near the northern pole, North Pole, you're going to have like really understanding of the sun god at his power because the sun will never set, right? It just gets kind of like dim. So those who follow the path of like the two kings, this is a part of pagan Wiccan like celebrations. This is when the Oak King is at its peak. So when the day is following summer solstice and the nights get longer, the Holly King takes over. So the Holly King is what rules at Yule, and the Oak King rules at summer solstice, okay, or midsummer. So generally, we think of Litha as being the first holy day after Beltane. So Beltane is May 1st, and then we come 6 weeks later and we celebrate Litha. And this is usually celebrated around June 21st, but some communities or some places where they celebrate summer solstice will have celebrations the whole week. So, the exact dates really do change every year, but, because we're kind of honoring the longest day of the year, this is when we're really honoring the sun. So, most of the festivals around the world, despite religion and culture that transcends it, will honor the sun at some point, the strengths, the gifts. And so when we talked about midsummer, when we thought about midsummer, we really thought about this evening, this night celebration went on all night. And it was a very powerful fire ritual with a bonfire and an all night celebration. We are really trying to help fertility. We're really trying to help our plants grow. I'm in Pennsylvania and we have had a very dry June, May and June, probably one of the driest that we've had. So we're seeing like the grass look like it's from August, everything's kind of brownish. So, we are honoring the sun and also like understanding the humility that the sun, brings, right? Because it could just destroy the crops for the whole year. So this is really, a very powerful time to commune and to connect. And this is an extroverted time. Again, a masculine holiday. So you're kind of working with the divine masculine, the masculine aspects of God or the earth or however you want to say it. It was also a really powerful time to commune and connect with the elementals and the fae or the she. So Shakespeare used these ideas in his play, The Midsummer Night's Dream, about the fairy folk causing confusion at midsummer celebrations. Because honestly, the she, we think of them as like little girl, like loving fairies and fairy festival and stuff, but the she were like feared by the people. They were also the ones that could cause chaos. And so they were playful and fun, but they also were like trickster energy. Okay. So, I have a friend, my friend, who she posts on as Witchy Mama and Kristen. And one of the things about what she says is like, this is not for the weary. You don't just play with the fae, you have to be really honoring and all of that. So, don't just like be like, oh yay, fae time. So anyway, so this is really a time of joy, vitality, strength, and abundance. We do a lot of work around health, around strengthening ourselves, around stability. And it's probably like the most masculine of the Shabbats in the Wheel of the Year, but we look at all of the summer, like we look at Midsummer and then Lunazda on August 1st and Autumn Equinox or Mabon. Those are all masculine festivals, okay? Because they're kind of honoring the sun Okay, so Midsummer really celebrates transformation through fire. And so you can work with that kind of energy if you're ready to transform something in your life. So the celebration often marks the end of the planting season and as a way to bring joy around harvest and just get that like love energy into your plants. One of the things the farmers would do is take lit torches down to the field to drive out the dragons and the spirits that might cause sickness to the community and to their harvest. So we would see like the Beltane maypole wrapped in straw and burned, and then the ashes were used again to mix with the soil, and that would help for fertility in the soil. Some customs have people burning their brooms down to the stick and then making new brooms, for the year. Others, would take the stick out into the field and plant them as protection for the crops and the gardens and the homes. This is something I read. Women would traditionally gallop through the fields to do this, as a personal fertility and good bounty. So it could be like part of what was misinterpreted, as witches riding broomsticks was them, skipping through the field on their broom to burn it. So the fire was used in many ways. It was used to purify and bless and protect. And so we think of this time as being a protection work time. So protection work is highlighted. It was a traditional time to make protection amulets that you wore and then burn the old ones. So you would, either burn it into wood and wear it. But the idea was this bonfire was kept burning all night. And so, when we work with Midsummer, we really work with the time to honor the solar energy within you. So you're looking at your strength and your power, your will, and how your energy is flowing through you. And we get to like tap into that and kind of play with our vitality. So if you're feeling really sapped, this is really a time to use the sun and fire energy to renew and energize. Transformation and change is right here for you. So using fire energy is a way to kind of work with burning off any stuck energy. We kind of think of it as like we can be in the sun and use a sun ritual to help, purify, renew, transform us. And so you don't have to dress any certain way. I mean, obviously, you want to use sunscreen if you're going to be out there for any amount of time. So you just come to the sun. Okay. And this is a personal ritual. We stand outside, we let the sun, kind of, we stand with our arms open, let the sun kind of hit our body. You can do this at dawn if you want to. But basically, we set our intentions with the sun. So we ask for what we want. And so as the sun rises, we begin to feel the sun's energy in our field and feel it burn off any gray bubbles collected there from other people, from situations, from old stories, from wounds. We feel it repair and revive the auric field. So it kind of fills it with that golden light. And so start first with the layers furthest from your body, like put your arms all the way out. That's the furthest layer of your auric field. And so you start to feel that part getting cleansed. That's connected with your crown chakra. Then move in and just slowly see okay, I'm cleansing every stuck energy within my crown, and then move it in third eye, then move it in throat, then move it in heart, then solar plexus, then sacral, then root. And you're talking about 3 or 4 inches off your body there. And then move it close to your body and feel it kind of move through and feel your head be warm and alive with ideas and creativity. And so as you're doing this, you're just breathing in, taking in that solar pranic energy. Okay. And so the sun is like oxygen opening up everything that's needed. And it just moves through you. It's really such a beautiful ritual. This is one that I wrote for my book on cycles. So, some journal prompts here are like, do you feel energized? What brings you energy? What makes you feel useful and fertile? What do you think about transformation? What does transformation look like in your life right now? Does it scare you? Why or why not? And so what steps do you need to take to make transformation happen? And, other questions are like, where do you feel vulnerable? Where can you strengthen your boundaries? Where do you need protection? Those can be really helpful. And so our affirmation is, I am energized by the sun's radiance and light today. And so at the end of that, sun energy, you can kind of invite the sun into any areas of pain and all of and blockedness and stuckness, and then be very grateful for the sun. Honor the sun in whatever way you can. And so I appreciate you listening to that. I hope it helps. I'm going to do a little reading. This is from my book, The Complete Tarot Layouts, and I asked to have a collective reading. It's funny because I pulled cards and I was like, oh, this one is for me. This one's not for everyone. I'm like, okay, I need one for everyone. So here we go. This is the Litha spread, or the summer solstice spread, from my book, The Complete Tarot Layouts. I've also posted all of this stuff, including the reading, like a picture of the reading and all of that, on my Instagram, which is at the Moon and Stone Healing. So this is a 9 card, so it's a bigger layout, and I do that for Midsummer and for Yule. Just have a little bigger because I kind of honor those points. They're big points in our lives. We generally say like, oh yeah, it was summer or it was winter. So, okay, right in the center is what shines brightly. And this is a thing to pay the most attention to. And right now, the Two of Cups is coming up. And that Two of Cups is all about relationships, both with ourselves, with other people. We're thinking about how do we have peaceful unions, peaceful friendships, peaceful relationships with our coworkers. So this time, this midsummer, we're really paying attention to relationships. Sorry about that. Okay. In the next one is, what do I need to protect? And Temperance comes in, and this is all about your emotional balance. Okay. This is Archangel Michael. So he is actually the protector archangel, and he comes in with this card. There are a couple angel cards, but this one is in particular a really great one to get in this position. So what do I need to protect is your emotional sobriety, your emotional balance. Or if you are someone who is sober or is clean from a addiction of choice, and that can be anything. It can be shopping, it can be eating, it can be fear and anxiety, it could be anything: gambling, sex, eating too much, I don't know if I said that already, shopping, alcohol, drugs, of course, smoking, anything that you feel is an unhealthy attachment. This is our card for getting sobriety from that, getting balance from that. This is the card of moderation. So what do you need to protect right now is our emotional balance. I've done a really crappy job of that. I'm just going to honor that. From basically Beltane to summer solstice, I've burnt myself out. This is sun energy turned against itself. And so there is water in this one. The sun is rising. It's just very small on the horizon. And the Archangel Michael has his foot in the water and on the ground. So we're both balancing and taking a dip into our emotions, but we are balancing it. And so the question is, how do I protect it? How do I protect my emotional sobriety? And the Three of Wands reverse comes in here. So the Three of Wands upright is really about growth. So sometimes, when we see these, it's not like the opposite of growth. It's just basically paying attention to like how much you're banking on the future. Like, are you being present? So how we protect our energy is stay in the present. Don't go, building castles in the future when we are, without a roof right now. So right now is what we're protecting. Okay. And if we do that, then the future is kind of guaranteed in some ways. But right now we're protecting us. We're protecting who we are. Okay. So that 3 is really important to think about. Okay. This is not the time to be planning. We're just doing that. So the next place is what I need to take charge of in my life. And the Ace of Pentacles is coming in. And what actually this card, is an interesting thing is, what do you need to take charge of? The Ace of Pentacles is about getting the gift of either work or money or, something like that. And so when it comes in just like out of the blue, so what do you need to take charge of? The fact that you can be the one that manifests the money. You can be the one to worry about you, and the gifts that you're getting. So not only is this a card of gratitude for all of the opportunities coming in, but gratitude for the fact that you have the ability to make shit happen, and that's important. And, so how do you do this? A lot of people are like, yeah, I can ask for money from the universe for all I want, but it's just, the reality is I still have to work my ass off. Yeah, exactly. But where you put your energy is the gift. And so the next one is, how do I take charge of bringing new money in, or bringing, you know, new finances in, or new job, or whatever it is that's going to be that element of stability for you, both, for financial, because it's the pentacles. What came in here is the hangman reversed. So, I think, how do you take charge of it? You get a lot of perspectives. You sometimes have to take the sacrifice of maybe not making money now so that in the future you can make money. And like, this is a very powerful connection for me, because I sometimes deal with that. And I think some people can relate to this, that fear of like, but I can't make money if I'm not working. But the truth is, like, you can't write a book, you know what I mean? If you're working, you can't create new content if you're working all the time. Just talking personally, I'm struggling with that a little bit, because it is hard. It is confusing what we're supposed to do. So, how do I take charge of it? The hangman is really a paradoxical card. It often is, you kind of have to think of it as like doing the opposite of what your instinct is, right? How do I make more money? Ace of Pentacles. How do I take charge of finances? Well, sometimes it's about working less to make more. So you have to think of it as the paradox. You do the opposite of your instinct. And I remember reading, I don't know if it's Rachel Pollack's book, but she was like, it's kind of like if you're interested in someone and you want to have a date with them, it isn't about calling them, it's about waiting for them to call you, that kind of thing. That's the hangman medicine, which is like, do the opposite of your instinct. It's funny because in recovery and in sobriety, they tell you that a lot. What are you thinking? Do the opposite, because you're always like, your instinct is always rooted in addiction, so it's like, do the opposite. And it kind of makes me laugh because, I've gotten to the point where my instinct isn't too bad anymore. But yeah, I have to like kind of tap into who I was, what would be my instinct? All right, the opposite. You know, I talk a lot about the sacred pause. The sacred pause is this moment. We have the first thought, and then we inhale, take the sacred pause before we do the action of it. Mindlessness is having a thought and doing it, not even like examining the thought at all. And so when we walk this spiritual path, or when we walk the path of the earth, or when we, start to walk this earth medicine path, what we're really doing is practicing the sacred pause often. Like, pause, inhale, stop, slow down. Anxiety and ego is very insistent. Do this now, do this now. You have to call that person right now, right now, right now. It's like that. It's like, it's anxious, it's insistent, it's berating, it's unkind. The voice of spirit is a slow down voice. Take a moment, breathe. It isn't screaming at you. It isn't berating you. It isn't telling you like abusive things. Okay. So remembering that the hangman has this real paradox. It's a real look at different things, hang upside down. And hang upside down sometimes means go right side up if you're feeling upside down, Because this is reversed, I feel like, a lot of us have been going through that process. I hear it in my friends, they're all saying similar things. I don't understand what I'm not seeing here. Why isn't this thing changing yet? I keep doing all the things. Go back to the beginning, back to point A. Go through all your journals and see the pattern. Look for the pattern. Okay? So what do you need to transmute or transform in your life is our sixth position, and the moon comes in. So we're really looking at our own secrets and shadows. Where are we keeping secrets? What are we not saying out loud? Those are important questions to be asking. The moon always kind of challenges us to sit in our own darkness. Now, again, summer solstice has a small darkness window, you know, so it's really easy to feel like your shadows are really illuminated right now. So this is the time to sort of think about transmuting and transforming, you know, whatever's in shadow for us. Okay? Whatever's that we're not really wanting to see and not really wanting to do. And the seventh position, the how do I transform it, is the Six of Swords. What is the Six of Swords? Hey, it's time to move on. Get out of that thought. Move to the next place. Okay? The Six of Swords has a lot of water in it. It's really emotional. And she moves from like a really rocky place to a really calm place. So again, this is that emotional balance that Temperance is asking to bring in. She's transforming it by not necessarily engaging it, but by moving on. You know, it's time to let it go. It's time to let it go. All right. So what is it that you want to let go? Well, we have to think about, what are we manifesting right now? We are manifesting Ace of Swords energy. So another ace is coming in here. Another ace that we're being gifted. And the Ace of Swords is really the gift of clear thinking and clear communication and clear thought. So it's time to like cut out the bullshit and really think about, what do I want? You know, do I really want this? And just cut it out. Okay? Because right now, we often will like think about, and what I'm seeing in this reading is, we think we know what we want, and what we're really calling in is clarity, is letting go rather than calling in. So think about that. When you're calling in money, you're asked to do the opposite, to not work, right? It's interesting. It's very interesting to think about. You know, how does that work for me? Well, Angie, I have to work. I have to pay for groceries. I got kids. I'm a single mom. I'm a single father, whatever. I get it. But you are asked to look at, like, not change anything, just look at what you want to change. Okay. So what am I manifesting is the Ace of Swords. How I manifest it is our friend the sun. So calling in all that solar energy, clarity, shining the light in the dark places, doing all the things the sun does. Remember, you know, the thing that we need to transform and transmute is in shadow. It's in the moon, it's in the night. And so the sun comes to illuminate that. Okay. So really taking this and transforming it. You know, I had a friend of mine say today, you know, I have so many fears right now. I said, what is your fear? And she said, you know, I'm afraid I'll be homeless and I can't provide for my children. She does a wonderful job providing for her children. You know, that isn't necessarily what she's experiencing at the moment, but she has a lot of fear of just like not being there, able to be the mom they need as a single mom. You know, so when we look at those shadow, we have to like illuminate the light on them. Okay, she told her first person, maybe she will tell other people, I'm afraid of this. And they go, we would never let that happen to you. You know, we would help you, we would guide you, we would be your assistants here. And that's really, really vital, you know, to remember we're not alone. We get to invite our friends into our problems. We get to have them help us hold space. We get to ask them to do that for us. And then we also get to invite spirit in and the earth in and ask for the abundance. And then, you know, really letting Father Sky or Great Spirit or God, or, you know, however you envision that Great Spirit, to come in and take my fears. Let's transform it. Let's transmute it. Show me how, you know, let the sun burn that thought off. Let the sun show you the reality of the situation and the gratitude. So, you know, I hope you connected with this Midsummer spread. if you are really interested in the cycles of the year, I just held a cycles class. This was June 3rd. It is so comprehensive. I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn, but it is a good class. It talks about all the cycles. I mean, the bonuses alone are just out of this world. If you want to do the self-study, the class is there recorded. You can, watch it. The Q&As are there. All of the bonuses are incredible. This is one of my special interests is cycles, and partially because that's how I found my own healing is to work with the earth and work with earth medicine, which is, crystals, plants, and animals. And, am I healed? No, I'm going through a lot of physical stuff right now and, needing that self-care time. So I just wanted to let you know that there are some classes there that are recorded and there for you. There's cycles, there's holding space. I'm completing tarot, and at some point that's going to turn into a self-study again until I offer the next one. But until that point, there are classes there. I am taking like some time from seeing clients and from offering some things just for healing and self-care. I'll still be doing all my monthly readings and things like that, but I just want you to know if you're looking for appointments with me or anything like that, or what classes am I offering? Well, I'm kind of laying low this summer, and I really need that time to write my books and get classes ready for the fall and really figure out like how I'm going to continue offering at this level, because it is intense and it's hard to do by myself. So I'm working on it, guys. Thanks for being patient with me, and have a wonderful midsummer.
Thanks for listening to Centered with me, Angie Yingst. If you'd like to send me a question or comment about this show or any shows, you can send them to Angie@themoonandstone.com.